Oh, I'm fainting. We are a very quirky family.
You're so weird.
Weird is normal for us. Go. We're able to make light of some of the challenges that we face.
Never forget the clever Dever.
You're Pacific at all.
No, I was Atlantic.
One of the things that is a common thread through 4 of my kids as well as myself is autism.
It means both being different and unique. I just want to live my truth. We fight, we run, or we freeze in place and curl up in a ball.
I don't look at it as like autism as a bad thing.
Getting injured during the pandemic was challenging. The wheelchair has become a part of me. It gives me freedom.
And it terrifies me that you could hiccup the wrong way and hurt yourself.
It's the main thing in my life. You know, I'm a parent, I'm an advocate. I think it would be helpful for this doctor to dig deeper.
The concept of a family is ever-changing. Each family experiences its own set of unique joys, struggles, and successes. Join Canadian families in the disability community on journeys of growth, self-discovery, adaptability, and strength.
We are the Dever family and we are one.
My name is Maddy Dever. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm an autistic, spinal cord injured, disabled diabetic. There's a Chinese proverb, may your lives be ever interesting. Yes, we are a family, a very quirky family. Rock, scissors.
What are you doing? Okay, I'm just gonna go first because you're being ridiculous.
A family of many gifts, many talents, and many challenges. Normal was something that never was something that we needed to aspire to, and we as parents encouraged our kids to be unique, different, quirky. Weird is okay. Weird is normal for us. It's the normal. Being normal is almost like an insult. Why would we want to be normal?
I'm Matlin. I am 22 years old. My pronouns are she, they.
Tacos!
Crazy. That word is probably the best way to describe my family is crazy. I'm mixed, so my mom is Black, my dad's white, and when I was 2.5, they got a divorce, and then a couple years later, my dad got remarried. My sisters came along.
Maddy has 5 children in total. However, only Matlin lives with them full-time, and only 2 of their daughters live with them part-time.
I'm Catherine Michaela Elizabeth Dever. I'm 13 years old. I feel comfortable with any pronoun.
My name is Emily Grace Rebecca Jean Dever. I go by Raven. I'm 16. My pronouns are we, them.
We have an interesting family. One thing is we have a motto. It's kind of to help people remember. It's
Never forget the clever Dever.
But
Because we're not Devers, we're Devers.
yeah, but we are really clever.
You're Pacific at all.
No, I was Atlantic.
Our family is chaos, but it's also beautiful. Everyone is unique and
We thrive in chaos.
yeah, and our whole life has we've all been different, but because of that difference, we in a way are closer to each other.
Go. I think our sense of humor is a big part of how we identify. We're a funny family, and we do funny things, and we're able to make light of the things that some of the challenges that we face on the good days, and on the bad days, it's sometimes how we can break through. Pick up 5. Oh, I'm fainting.
Every individual in my family is different in a different way, and it makes them special. I mean, there's a lot of love. There's definitely a lot of love. There's not a sibling that I don't love.
I love all my siblings, but I mean, I've always been the youngest. Sometimes they can all of my siblings can get a bit too much to handle. Like, literally, like, most other people in my family, like, all my siblings are loud, and, like, I'm the only one that's really quiet, so it's kind of can be hard to manage.
One of the things that is a common thread through 4 of my kids, as well as myself, is autism. And the autism spectrum is not the linear, more autistic, less autistic. It's, think of it as a color wheel, where with different areas we have strengths and different areas we have challenges, and all of us are at different places in that color wheel. And it makes life interesting, it makes life challenging, but it makes it us.
Having autism, it makes some things harder, but it also highlights other parts of you. It means both being different and unique. It means that some things are more difficult, but it also, in some areas, makes things easier.
For people with autism, it's like learning a second language, but it's so much harder than any other second language. It takes a lot of focus because it is a language and it's difficult for us to learn. We don't innately learn it. It's frustrating when other people see you differently and you're put in a box with other people, especially for people like me who are high functioning and I almost didn't get the diagnosis because they said I was too smart and too gifted. But I'm not able to focus and use the skills. I'd be able to do amazing things if I could focus long enough to actually complete a project.
I don't look at it now as like autism as a whole scale as a bad thing, and I never really thought of it like I wouldn't wish that my brothers didn't have autism or that my sisters didn't have autism, because then they wouldn't be who they are.
Matlin has not been officially diagnosed with autism.
Because of my ethnicity background of being Black and being a female, autism shows differently in African Americans than it does for Caucasians, and for women than it does in men. And just with all my other diagnosis, and from like my ADHD, my anxiety, my depression, so it, like all those things put together, it just kind of like clicked that it could possibly be the case.
She won! Did she say Una? Yeah, she did last year.
I did.
Not only are we all over the place with our disabilities, we're definitely a rainbow family. Some of us, like I'm non-binary, I'm bisexual, and I have 2 kids who are very, very out with their sexuality. And I have another kid who's gender fluid, another kid who's non-binary. We've been a very open family in terms of, being able to express yourself as you are, to come to grips with your identity, whoever you want to love, it's open. And it's been neat to watch the kids being able to trust me as they share different aspects of themselves. And it's also made it easier for me to be open as well.
We are one. We are one.
In June of 2020, life took another turn for Maddy Dever and their family. They and Catherine were involved in a serious motor vehicle accident. While Catherine suffered whiplash, Maddy's injuries were more serious.
I couldn't move my fingers. I couldn't. There was so much pain in it. I couldn't move them. I couldn't feel them. There was just tingling everywhere. Pain in my hip, pain in my back, pain in my neck. I got taken into Ottawa to the trauma center for a bunch of tests, and they didn't see anything then.
But the pain did not subside. In fact, it only got worse to the point they could not move. Turns out, Maddy needed emergency spinal cord fusion surgery on 3 vertebrae. Although the surgery was successful, they were left mostly immobile, confined to a bed or a chair, or moving short distances in their home.
Getting injured during the pandemic was a challenge. Every gap in the system I hit. Every gap in terms of getting support I hit. I don't have fine motor control. I need things cut for me. I need things cooked for me. I need things cleaned for me. I need a lot of support with hygiene, with bathing. I can't do any of these things.
It was then that Matlin decided to move in with Maddy.
What was the alternative? That he just have no one? Because we had, like, when he finally came home, we were trying to get like PSW support and nurse support, and it was really hard. The first 4 months after his surgery was really hard to get people that were competent and who were reliable. Like, for me, knowing that I was going to be in charge of everything and his meds and having to deal with the collar that he was in at the time and making sure that he had all of his meals and everything, and still doing school at the same time, it was overwhelming, but I had to keep going.
What was supposed to be 2 weeks became 2 years.
We've definitely come a long way than we were in 2020 between his care and what he's now able to do. But it's still not what he used to be, and it's still not who what he used to do. And he still has his hard days, and it's still really hard to watch.
Maddy struggled with the loss of their autonomy. However, the acquisition of a motorized wheelchair improved the quality of their life immensely.
The motorized wheelchair was just I felt fully human. It's like so many people, want to talk about the person, not the wheelchair. It's like, you know what? The wheelchair has become a part of me. It gives me freedom where I have none. I love being by bodies of water.
Still, Matlin is concerned for their safety, especially when Maddy takes off in their wheelchair unsupervised.
What if the wheelchair had flipped over? What if you'd ended up in a ditch? That thing weighs like a ton. You can barely lift your water bottle when it's full. I'm like, you can't just do these things and not expect me not to worry or freak out or get upset with you. He's like, but I'm fine. I'm like, but that's not the point. I still worry about you. I know that you're my parent, but I've been taking care of you for the last 1.5 years. And it terrifies me that you could hiccup the wrong way and hurt yourself.
So you sound like you're a little bit afraid of being an adult. Being able to be more present, be more physically present with my kids is the greatest loss I have. And it's the thing that I fear most for them, is that when they have needs that I can't physically be there right away for them. But I'm also extremely happy with the things that I can do still, because it can be useful and meaningful. Not that I don't need to be useful to have value, but it does help me process and deal with the really difficult days.
One of the biggest ways Maddy found that they could be useful was to be an advocate.
It's the main thing in my life. I'm a parent, I'm an advocate. I'm involved in research now. I read so many articles on so many different things. I help teach about autism and about the autistic perspective to physicians and psychologists and educators. But it comes because I started off with a positive attitude that autism is a part of us. It's not a separate thing. And that attitude has really helped me try to teach that to others.
Maddy is founder of Autistic Bridge, an autistic-led self-advocacy group. They're also involved in many other organizations like the Ontario Autism Program Implementation Working Group.
being on the implementation working group, I met with people who were, part of that were to Holland Blur Review, which is part of the Project Echo, which basically is a multidisciplinary approach to train and retrain doctors, physicians, psychologists, nurse practitioners, educators about autism so that they can change their practice to be more strength-based.
I think would be helpful for this doctor is for some good questions formulated to ask the parents and to ask daycare to dig deeper.
And through being part of that, having more speaking opportunities, it's allowed my advocacy to grow.
We are one. We are one.
Parent, autism advocate, and autistic, Maddy Dever.
When it comes to autism, the way we look at it is autism is not something that is beside us that we can separate at any time. I'm fully autistic. Every part of me, I think autistically, I eat autistically, I sleep autistically. I was born autistic, I will die autistic. It's not like I can leave autism and go on vacation. It's very much a part of our identity. Just like I'm Canadian, I'm right-handed, I'm a parent. Myself and many other autistics are trying to say, autism isn't a negative. There are some aspects of it that are challenging to us, but autism itself isn't. Some of the people that have the most challenges are usually challenged by co-occurring conditions that autism makes more challenging. But we're fully autistic. It is very much part of who we are. So that's why I proudly say that I am autistic, and my kids have all adopted that as well.
Even though they can advocate for others, Maddy has a hard time advocating for themselves.
I don't consider myself a self-advocate because I suck at advocating for myself. Individually, autistics are horrible at advocating for ourselves. It's so much easier to advocate for others, but like, what are my needs? I don't know. What do I need? I'm having problems. I don't know what to do about them. You're having problems. Well, we can do this, this, and this, and this. So I'm an advocate. I'm not a self-advocate, because self-advocacy, I'm trying to teach my kids self-advocacy skills because I want them to have the things that I don't have. But it's like, it's a really tricky thing.
Maddy Dever.
Anytime like you leave the house and you don't have somebody else kind of standing behind you to kind of help guide you, it's going to be scary. But for me to be able to advocate for myself in just with my doctors or my teachers, because I went back to school to finish my high school education, and being able to advocate of what was going to be best for me to succeed is a big thing for me. And looking back at everything I've accomplished since then, I'm kind of in awe.
Maddy Dever.
I try to advocate for myself, but I don't really know how. It's really, I find it really hard to even just ask for help.
Maddy Dever.
For me, it's been a journey at one point, I was just so sick and tired, and I just had this gut feeling that this wasn't my rock bottom, but I had to do something because I don't want to find out what rock bottom is. And that was when I started advocating. The one thing that people don't understand when treating autistic kids is that we don't have fight or flight, we have fight, flight, or freeze. We fight, we run, or we freeze in place and curl up in a ball. We curl up in a ball to hide because things get so overwhelming. We're not being difficult, we're just completely overwhelmed. It's like a computer's circuits are overloaded. But whether it's sensory or emotional, you just need to understand that it's a mental health crisis and not kids being difficult. I just want to live my truth.
But as kids get to teens, and especially as they're needing to transition to adults, that's where we need more support. That's where we need things to really teach them life skills to help teach them about sexuality and puberty, relationships. So we really need supports to be able to bridge these kids between this teen age to the adult age, so they don't have this cliff.
Skip.
All of my kids have areas where they will struggle for independence, and other areas where they shine through. And some of my kids will have a harder time to having full independence as adults, and others I think will just need some ongoing supports here and there. But I want to see them learn how to be an adult, but also learn how to understand themselves. I have great hope for every single one of them. I don't put a limit on where and what they could do. So that my job is to try to talk through them with these things and hope that some part of it they'll listen to. They will have successes and they will have failures, and there'll be it's can they handle the time between the two. That's where I want them to know that I'm able to be there to emotionally and intellectually support them.
Sorry, cat, pick up 10.
Host Victoria Nolan. Producer Emily Ramsay. Videographer Darcy DeTony. Additional videography Keelan Ben. Editor Darcy DeTony. Location sound mixer Stephen Lorne. Integrated described video specialist Simone Cupid. Audio post Mark Phoenix. Graphics Andrew Antonello. Senior producer Michelle Dudas. President and CEO David Arrington. Copyright 2022 Accessible Media Inc.